Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 199 of This Is the G Podcast. Yes. We're back for another week, man. I'm Tommy B. You know, each week we do news, politics, pop culture, that piping hot tea from the one and only Tonya B. And only one episode away from the 200th episode of This Is the G Podcast. Just want to thank you for joining us for another week. Talib Shabazz is here. We'll discuss news. Man, we lost a big part of our culture this week. Actor Richard Roundtree, plus Tonya B has your tea, man. What's up with Dwight Howard? She'll tell you. So let's go ahead and get it started with news from Syracuse. Mike, what you got?
News team, assemble!
It's time for the Week in News with Syracuse Mike.
The U.S. is reportedly pushing for a delay in the ground invasion by Israel into Gaza after two more hostages were released by Hamas. The freed hostages are Israeli nationals, according to reports. Hamas said they released two elderly women for humanitarian and medical reasons. A spokesman for Gaza's health ministry claims that since October 7th, Israeli strikes on Gaza have resulted in the death of 4,651 Palestinians, of which 40% were children. Those numbers have not been independently verified. The House of Representatives finally has a speaker. Conservative Republican Mike Johnson from Louisiana was elected Speaker of the House Wednesday, ending weeks of chaos. The 220 to 209 vote along party lines put Johnson in the important role that has been vacant since Kevin McCarthy was booted out by a small group of his fellow Republicans on August 3rd. Johnson says he's willing to work across the aisle. Democratic Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
We continue to look forward to finding bipartisan common ground whenever and wherever possible.
Congress will need to get together to avoid a government shutdown in just a few weeks. Georgia joins other states where a court has determined that congressional maps are unfair to black voters. A federal judge ruled on Thursday that Georgia's redrawn congressional maps violate a section of the Voting Rights Act. And now Governor Brian Kemp is calling for a special session of the General Assembly to deal with the issue. According to the ruling, the state's congressional, state senate, and state house districts were drawn in a racially discriminatory manner. The maps were approved in 2021. Those maps shifted the Republican congressional edge in the state from 8-6 to 9-5. The death toll is now 18 following Wednesday's mass shootings in Maine. It's the worst mass shootings in the U.S. this year. Police have identified Robert Card as a primary suspect in the shootings.
Mr. Card is considered armed and dangerous, and police advise that Maine people should not approach him under any circumstances.
The shootings in Lewiston, Maine, at a bowling alley and a bar have resulted in a lockdown of the community. School districts canceled classes, and authorities are warning residents in and around Lewiston to lock their doors and stay inside. Dean Phillips says he is entering the race for president and is challenging President Biden for the Democratic nomination. The Minnesota Democrat is not well known and is still trying to push better-known Democrats to challenge Mr. Biden, primarily because of the president's age. Political observers don't believe Phillips can win, but he could hurt the incumbent before the general election. The move by Phillips has frustrated some Democratic Party leaders. And actor Richard Roundtree, star of the iconic 70s movie Shaft, has died following a battle with pancreatic cancer. He passed away at his home in Los Angeles. Roundtree was 81.
Thanks, Mike, for the headlines. The Newsmaker crew is here. He is in the building, the one and only Talib Shabazz. What up, Talib?
Please, how y'all feeling out there? Radio land.
Hey, man, as of this taping, man, I got to say this, and I want to thank Mike for the headlines again. It missed his deadline, but the mass shooter in Maine has been found, self-inflicted gunshot wound. And we'll get into that a little bit in a few minutes. The House has finally found a speaker, of course. They call him MAGA Mike already, MAGA Mike Johnson. The job that nobody wants. Another Christian nationalist is in place. So, just get ready for the ride, y'all. Yeah. Georgia's cheating maps have been called out, approved back in 2021. Now, Kemp has set a date to redraw these maps. Looks like it's going to be late November.
Right.
But we'll get into it. I just want to kind of hit these because Mike mentioned them, just kind of follow up. The amazing thing to me is the only way that the Republicans can truly win and dominate in a lot of these southern markets is through gerrymandering. It's either through us not going to vote or gerrymandering. So we'll see. Apparently, there's an opportunity for 2 new seats potentially in Georgia. So we'll see. That could make a huge difference. And it's not Marianne Williamson, whatever her name is, but Dean Phillips. This guy said he's running against Biden because of his age, and I want to address Biden, man, because I don't think. I mean, look, let me say this for the podcast audience.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer Biden over Trump any day. Okay, any day. And candidly, I have concerns. I'm not 100% on that bandwagon, but I will say he's done some things, and I've seen the benefit even within my household of the things that he's done. I want to go through a list, to be fair, and you can jump in afterwards.
You wrote it down.
I wrote it down. I had to write it down.
Yeah,
but I think he has lowered the cost of certain things. The problem I think he's dealing with, because we saw an approval rating hit 37 as we tape this week.
Super low.
That's low. And honestly, that's where Trump sank, as low as like 37 in the upper 30s. And I think a lot of it for Biden, in my opinion, was the gas prices, because the gas prices have fluctuated upward. They're coming down, but they were up higher than they were with Trump. I think that's one of the issues. I think he has done a much better job, because I saw egg prices this week. Egg prices are way lower than they were at one point in his administration. So you see certain things starting to go down, milk, a lot of the household goods. People are working according to the job reports, more so than any time at any point in history. Companies are reporting higher earnings, rescued the economy from the pandemic. I will say that, because we could have collapsed and we didn't. The infrastructure bill, the money's there. I just think the governors need to move faster to fix things. Historic expansion of benefits for the toxic. If you have ever seen the Apple show with the guy who used to host the Daily Show, the toxic burn folks over in Iraq, he was able to get those veterans benefits, whereas other administrations refused to give them benefits. That was a big deal. And
John Stewart?
No, well, yeah, John Stewart.
Right,
Yeah, okay. John Stewart had really been an advocate for getting a lot of veterans who had been exposed to all the toxic smoke from the burning. Right. And he was able, and Biden was able to make that happen. And the other thing, and I'll let it go, even though I think we're dealing with it now with this mass shooting, he was able to get a step forward on guns with some legislation, but we still have not taken the automatic weapon ban off. You know, we need to get back to that 94 ban that we had when, you know, the period up until when George Bush allowed it to expire, because at that time, from 94 up until George Bush allowed that ban on assault weapons to expire, we weren't having these many mass shootings.
Right.
Okay, but as soon as he allowed it to expire, it started up again. So we got to get back to that. But again, I don't want to. You can go to whitehouse.gov. They've got a list of all the Biden, the things he's done with the administration. Let me tell you the problem, because another problem, I just don't think the messaging, man. I think the messaging is hokey as hell.
I was really just going to say that same thing, man. You know, the problem is never what somebody does. The problem is, what did you know about? You know, and yes, the gas prices definitely negatively impacted Joe Biden. But, you know, it's the economy as a whole. You know, when everybody's talking about this inflation, you know, that you have to be able to combat what you know to be truth and what is propaganda, you know, and that's, I think that's, you know, yes, that's his, honestly speaking, I'm not crazy about the way that Joe has been able to, or not been able to wrangle, his fellow party members in order to get the just the things that he campaigned on actually into effect. But I'm not mad at the fact that his job the jobs that he's been created or that have been created under his watch. Yeah. Number over 200,000. You know what I mean? There have been some good things that I would definitely say that that Joe Biden has had his hand in. That would not have happened had Trump had 4 more years. So, but again, it's just, to me, for where we are and what we really need right now, in my opinion, it's not Joe Biden.
Okay, and that's fair. In all fairness, yeah, and honestly, well, you said you don't know who it is, and that's the issue. I don't think anybody right now knows who it is. Right. I think if we knew, then there would probably be a bit more activity on the Democratic side trying to wrangle that in, fix it.
But at the same time, when you don't have debates, for whatever reason, that helps to kind of squash the message as well. People want to see. Right now we're living in the days of social media politics, and people want to see a show. And Joe Biden, just on his own, is not really giving the show. If he allowed for the debates to happen, at least we'd be able to see where, he's okay. Joe's got a little oomph. He hasn't really, yes, he's getting older, but he hasn't really lost a step. Right now, we're really just not seeing it. I think that is to his detriment as well.
I agree. He needs, but let me say, man, the age issue, we knew this was going to be a problem. I think when he ran in 2020, and I think for some reason we felt that he would do the 4 years and come up with a plan at the end of the 4 years. You know what I mean? You kind of felt, okay, he knows how old he is. He's probably not, he's going to do the 4, transition out of the mess that we've been in with Trump. And then, he's going to roll out a new plan. But the new plan is him again. Right. And I think that's why, I think to a certain extent, people expected him to say, okay, I've done 4. I've done, what the country wanted me to do.
Right. What you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
4 years and you're out of here. And
but I think he says he's got more to do. And it's going to be interesting because I've never seen, this is going to be a test because we've never seen a president at this age work.
You ever, this is going to be my, Joe face. I'm going to do this from now on. And Joe is not going to apply just to Joe Biden, but when somebody says something that I really have to see, to believe, I'm gonna just,
I'll see it when I believe it. And again, I mean, the presidency's hard, man. It's hard on everybody, dog. Yes. I mean, we saw it with Obama. Yeah. It's hard. You look at all the stuff that every day that's coming down. Yes. That he's getting calls on. And at that age, it's just going to be interesting to see. Yeah. Moving on from that, Richard Roundtree, man, our black superhero passed away, Shaft. I can tell you, man, let's go on and do it. Yes. I will tell you, man, and this is for my ATLians, man, my folks who grew up in the A, the Fox Theater, the Baronet, the Coronet, the Rialto, and the drive-ins, the Bankhead drive-in. That's like the black exploitation. That's where we saw them all, man. That's oh brother, ask them. The Baronet, the Coronet, and the Rialto especially used to be downtown. And the interesting thing, man, and they were talking about this, around the death of Richard Roundtree. the fact that black exploitation movies really saved Hollywood, because Hollywood was going through a down period because you had the whites were moving to the suburbs and leaving all these big theaters that were downtown that were becoming urban theaters. So, quite frankly, they weren't, Hollywood was losing money. They needed some time to get to the suburbs, you know what I'm saying? And start this whole new push for mainstream film again. And plus the mainstream films were getting, kind of dopey and they were doing, back in the, back around the late 60s, 70s, the films, they weren't doing really great films. They were trying to do family films and all these films that people weren't going to see on the mainstream side. Right. Then Shaft shows up, and Shaft really becomes, I think it was United Artists, was the studio, man. They were really one of the only studios to make money, and it was because of Shaft. Right. So you had a lot of these studios, man, that had been doing like this, maybe low key, low budget horror stuff that shifted. American International is another studio. Right. They shifted from doing, the vampire movies to funding black exploitation movies. Right. And the money was good for a while. So, I just have to give it up to him, man, because, he truly was a superhero in a lot of different ways, not just on the screen, but his image. I just remember how big, you could say Shaft back in the day and like, damn, he's Shaft. Right. It was like, truly like Superman for us. But you got any thoughts on that?
Just, thank you. Thank you to Richard Roundtree for being not just the man in front, but also the brunt of the jokes, because when there was a big uproar from the enlightened black community about the blaxploitation movies, and how these things were we were playing ourselves, Richard Roundtree really was like, look, I'm trying to do this for us. This isn't just about, trying to self-enrich. And, with him, Isaac Hayes,
that sounds
a lot of the, come on, that put a lot of us back to work, and introduced some of us to the movie industry. You think about, there wouldn't be a Dolomite if it hadn't been for that. And Dolomite, Rich, he was making his own things happen.
Rudy Ray Moore. He was doing the albums.
Exactly. So
the Blue albums,
Right. Yeah, so, moving into movie, there were some negatives that came from that era. Yeah. But I think that, Pam Grier's breast, we got everything in that. I think that was, it was a great time. It was a great time.
I know. Look, hey, dog.
Kennedy, we got Jane Kennedy from that era too. You know what I mean? These are, again, there were a lot of household names were able to eke out a living and become an inspiration for us to even want to do something better than the blaxploitation. So, just kudos to that man.
And you know what, man? And even up to, he stayed relevant, even he did the Shaft movie with Samuel L. Jackson.
Right.
And also, from a family standpoint, my kids were into the family reunion, the most recent thing that he did with Loretta Devine on Netflix. So he's continued to work over the years, man. Yeah. And, rest in power. What's that?
I said, well, he wasn't no punk ass man. You know what I mean? It was every role that he's been in. Wasn't he in Sounder too?
Oh, well, he wasn't in Sounder. He was in Roots.
Roots.
He did.
Right.
Yeah, he did Roots.
Come on, man. This guy was multifaceted. Just enough respect. That's all.
Absolutely. Man, the issue of gun control is up again. And you know what? I've done this podcast going back against, I guess, a version of this podcast going back to mid 2015, okay, 2014, 2015, and I've talked about this so much. I don't want to go into it in detail because this is blood on the politicians' hands. Every mass shooting we have, it's blood on the politicians' hands, and specifically, it's blood on the Republican Party's hands because they refuse to do anything about assault weapons. And nobody's asking. Nobody wants their guns taken away. I'm not here to talk about taking people's guns away. We're talking about the assault weapons. You don't need assault weapons to kill deer. Okay. Yeah. You don't need assault weapons to protect yourself in your home. I think the two things that push the assault weapons, the white supremacists are looking for a race war. So they want to keep the assault weapons. And I think for those who are on the Republican side, who are in that camp, they see it for that. And I do think that there are some in the Republican Party who are just in the back pocket of the gun community. I mean, not the gun, but the gun companies. They're getting money from the gun companies, so those two facets keep it going. And but so I pity the folks in Maine, but even in Maine, the Democrat there was for assault weapons, but he changed his stance after this publicly. So unfortunately, the Republicans have not changed their stance. So we're going to continue to see these. That's unfortunate, and I wish I had some type of plan, a 5-step plan to protect your family from something like this. But until we get the assault weapons off the streets, you don't see this in other countries. Talib, you don't see this, not like this.
And Piers Morgan was on Fox over the last week. And he made a comment, something to the effect of, he can't bring one of the Kinder candies, the Kinder chocolate candies that had the small toy inside. That he can't. He tried to bring some of those to some people here from the UK, and was stopped and was told that this was a health risk, and he said the point that he made to the Fox host was, can we just regulate guns to the same degree that we regulate these candies?
I agree.
I agree. And look,
he's making a good point. There's things that are ridiculous that are regulated.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
It just goes back to what we've been saying over the last couple of weeks about hypocrisy. Guys, my grandmother from Wetumpka, Alabama, God rest her soul. Yes, Miss Minnie Lewis. Minnie Lewis says to me that common sense is not common. And I'm, out of all the things that she said, that one seems to be ringing the most true, because I'm not a gun advocate myself. I do not own firearms. I've got bats all over my house. I've got pipes, but I've just never really done the gun thing. I have owned a gun before. I'm not against having a firearm. It's whatever floats your boat. But there has to be, if we make an electrician get a license before he is allowed to work in your home, if a doctor has to have a license before they're allowed to open you up, or even look in your mouth, if the CPA needs a license before they can operate on your taxes, why is it that? And why is it that we don't have a license for somebody that wants to own a gun? Yeah. It just doesn't.
It's simple.
It doesn't make sense to me.
And it doesn't make sense because it's in the hands of people. It's in the hands of the wrong people to make the decision. I mean, that's just my 100% opinion that Congress it has proven to be incapable of doing what's in the best interest of the people.
Right. So the hypocrites, are still alive and well and kicking, and they're not only paying money, but they're receiving money for these favors. And it's old now. It's just old, and we've really, at some point, we really just have to say, look, man, if you're not going to do it, then this is how we're going to do it. But there needs to be some kind of people's coalition, because I'm tired of talking about it.
We all are. We all are, man.
Like, this is just, it's unnecessary for the one or two that really wants to go squirrel hunting with an AK-47. Really?
Yeah.
Come on, y'all.
Yeah, agreed. Hey, man, what's your big takeaway for the week?
My big takeaway.
Go ahead.
My big takeaway is I've known about it for a couple of weeks now, but I'm just saying I want to say thank you for a little bit of common sense in the baking industry and allowing dispensaries to have access, marijuana dispensaries to have access to banking systems. Please, thank you very much for this, because this is so good. If you're going to allow it to be sold in this regulated way, for these dispensaries to not have access to the banking system and constantly getting robbed and, all kinds of ill treatments happening because of that, let's get back to just some common sense stuff. The places that marijuana is now legal, it's definitely a multi-million-dollar industry, if not a billion-dollar industry. It increases the tax base. It does so much, and it allows people who are adults to get into whatever kind of state of mind they want to be in and be at the house and, partying or interaction, whatever the case might be. Thank you for just giving a little bit of, okay, guys, this, you don't have to be just a cash-based business. Otherwise, why is it regulated? If you just want people, just want this to be a cash business, then just leave it to the guys on the corner. Let folks out of jail who did it that way, and and let's really reform the whole thing. But I'm glad I don't have to get charged $3 because I wanted to use my bank card. Like you're an idiot.
I know it. It's crazy. Crazy. Man. Hey, but for me, and I heard this on the local news, man, and I come out of that system. There are almost 2,000 foster kids currently in Georgia missing that they can't account for in the foster care system. That's ridiculous. Almost 2,000 kids in the foster care system, and I got to say that's criminal.
How many? Yeah, man, that's
many more. But I'm talking about that's just the number that they have indicated are missing that they can't account for. That's ridiculous. Who were in the hands of foster parents under an adult care that they can't account for. It's ridiculous. I mean, the accurate number is about 1,700, man. But I just wanted to point that out. That not everybody needs to be a foster parent. There's some folks out there just trying to get a check, trying to get as many to collect a check. And, again, I came out of that system, and I will tell you that, you got to find the good-hearted people, the people who are really in it for the good of the people and who are trying to make a difference, and not just hand these kids over, especially black kids. Because they'll put them anywhere just to get them out of the system or just to, put them in a home. Right. And they put them in situations that are abusive. So, again, our local news is reporting it before the state of Georgia. I just have to say, shame on you, state of Georgia. That's ridiculous. 1,700's the accurate number, almost 2,000 kids. They can't even account for. Can you imagine? They call. I mean, it just calls to the lack of accountability. All of a sudden, the social worker calls up and says, "Hey, let me speak to Tommy." We ain't seen Tommy in about 2 months. What?
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? It's just
right, and that's not reported. Right.
Do better, Georgia. Got to do better.
So I do want to say one more thing.
Go ahead, man.
I want to give a shout out to El Mahdi Holly, who is a state representative out of, I believe he's out of Henry County. But I follow his stuff on LinkedIn and a couple of other websites, and he interviewed and has something to do with this lawsuit that's happening in Georgia right now, where they're basically, a lawsuit has been filed against the state of Georgia for not releasing funds that were earmarked for historically Black colleges and universities.
Oh, absolutely, it's ridiculous,
man. And Georgia, to the tune of about, I think the figure was something like 600 million.
Mm-hmm.
Something stupid like that. I mean, over $1 million is outrageous. But the fact that this money that has already been allocated for that specific purpose and not being delivered, you know, now that my youngest son is a product of an HBCU, you know, hey man, get that money to these folks, man. You know what I mean? They have to stay competitive. They have to be able to, I mean, because if not, then whatever was not being subsidized now falls back on us. And, you know, hey, that's not cool.
Well, you know what? And I'm going to leave it at this. I'm going to leave it at this because we can talk about this on another show. The bottom line is the state of Georgia brags a lot about having a surplus. The problem is the reason they have the surplus is because the money's not going where it needs to go. Just like this situation. That's the problem. You know, Kemp can brag about a surplus. The issue is he's not really putting the money in places it needs to be. And when you hold on to money like that, you know, you see certain communities crumble. And that's what's going on. That's what's going on. Well, we love your thoughts. Go to castropolis.net, choose the people poll. Leave us a voicemail. Love to hear your thoughts, your comments, your feedback, and I'll play back the best. I want to say thanks to Talib, Shabazz, man. Appreciate you, man, coming in. You know, Newsmaker crew. Let's take a break and we'll come back with the tea with Tonya B right after this show.
Peace.
This is the G Podcast after the break.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's Tommy B from This Is the G Podcast. And if you've been thinking about starting your own podcast in 2024, I'd love to have a chat with you. The Castropolis Podcast Network is currently accepting new shows. And if you have a clear vision and a unique voice, let's get in touch. Reach out to me at info@castropolis.net or visit the website castropolis.net. Simply click on the Contact Us button. So go to castropolis.net, click on Contact Us, and just leave me a message. I'm Tommy B from This Is the G Podcast, and I can't wait to help you start your very own podcast journey today.
Now then, children, it's time for tea.
It's tea time, y'all. Sippin' the tea with Tonya B.
Yes, children. It is time for tea. It's your girl, Tonya B, and I'm here to give you this week's installment of the Entertainment GT. This is a G Podcast. You know what you got to do. Go to the website, go to the YouTube channel, check us out. We are now giving you content 7 days a week. That's what I said. All right, Tommy B, let's just get right to it. We've got to say rest in peace to groundbreaking actor Richard Roundtree. We know him as Shaft. Some of y'all know him as Gabrielle Union's father on Being Mary Jane, that was on BET. But either way, he was a groundbreaking actor and activist. Started out in the 70s. Before Shaft, Tommy B, you remember, he was a model with the Ebony Fashion Fair. That used to be the height of society in many cities across America. It does no longer exist anymore, which is unfortunate. But, you know, he also was one of the first men that we knew of that had breast cancer. But he left us after a brief but aggressive battle with pancreatic cancer and just raised the bar, opened the door for so many black actors, even though they say it was the beginning of the black exploitation movement. It doesn't matter. A lot of people benefited from everything that he did. He will be missed. Let's continue to carry on his legacy in the light that is, not that was, but that is Richard Roundtree. Dwight Howard, yes, what you do in your bedroom is your business, but you need to be a little bit more aware of how you keep your house. Now, he may go to jail, Tommy B, for sexual assault on not a woman this time, but on another man. The receipts are flying all over the internet and social media. Allegedly, all I gotta say is, Dwight, it is your business, but don't post up Don't blame other people. Don't be so self-righteous. Just stand in your truth and look into the light like Carol Ann. All right, now there's this woman, British Williams. She was on Basketball Wives. You know, she's going to jail. It's a shame because she's got a young daughter, and she was faking the funk about the celebrity lifestyle. Yeah, she had it because she stole it. She committed 15 different types of fraud. She's going to jail for 4 years. Social Security fraud, bank fraud, wire fraud, all kinds of fraud. The judge had no mercy on her. So much for that so-called celebrity lifestyle. I always said reality TV is not real. What else isn't real? Jada go fade away, Pinkett Smith. You know, in the words of Shaka Khan, Tommy B, ain't nobody buying her book. It is number 173 on the Barnes & Noble list. And now here's her stunt of the week, talking about now that this has come out that she and Will have a newfound respect for each other and they may reconcile. Girl, go over there and sit in the corner with Tyrese and R. Kelly and Neo. Fold the laundry and clean your house, okay? Reverend Run's daughter, Angela Simmons, you know what? She's being sued. She's faking the funk too. She's about to get evicted because she owes over $48,000 in back rent. So I guess the whole thing about her being booed up with Yo Gotti, word from the Curb and the ATL, was that they broke up. So Angela, I think it's time for you to find an occupation besides girlfriend. Okay, congratulations to Halle Bailey. Not Halle Berry, Halle Bailey of Chloe and Halle, the proteges of Beyonce. You know, you haven't seen her in the photo shoots and the magazine covers for the Color Purple movie. It's because she is, as I told you, she's pregnant, but she's also married to that D-list rapper named DDG, and he done gone because I don't know what he put out. In 2024, look for the return of Rihanna, new music, a tour, and a new sneaker line. Word from the Curb is that Jonathan Majors and Megan Good may have secretly married. Ooh, he's got to go back to court again on the 29th of November. You know, the ex-girlfriend that started all of this brouhaha turned herself in, and she's walking away scot-free. Everything old is new again. Who cares about the return of MTV Cribs? It's so weird because MTV's demo's really young, Tommy B. They're going to the houses of Taye Diggs, Vanessa Williams, Our Forever Miss America, and Vivica A. Fox. Child, please, bye. Next. Well, mark your calendar, December 2nd on Showtime. Tommy B, it's culture, it's music, it's history. It is Michael Jackson and all things Michael Jackson as we celebrate the 40th anniversary of Thriller. Yep, Thriller turns 40 this year. Can you believe that? My goodness. Well, so does Billie Jean, actually. Everybody is buzzing about Jay-Z's exhibit, The Book of Hope, at the Brooklyn Public Library, and his interview with Gayle King. He's many things. He is a brand. He is a business. He's a hip-hop legend. He's an entrepreneur. And he's also the father of Blue Ivy, Rumi, and Sir. And he said now that the kids have gotten a little older, now they think he's cool. Well, that's all I got. Ain't got no more. It's your girl, Tonya B. This is how we sip this GT each and every week on This Is the G Podcast. Don't forget, check the website, go to the YouTube channel. Oh, and in case you missed the Birdwire, you can now go to castropolis.net. The Birdwire is on demand 24/7. That's all I got. Ain't got no more. Have a great week, everybody. Back to you, Tommy B.
What you watching this week, Tommy B?
It's not all about what I'm watching this week. It's about the spicy, dicey top 10 for Halloween. The Exorcist Believer made her 6th annual top 10 list. Dicey explains why.
I get the religious bent. They have upped the ante. So I know if you can see from the trailer, we don't have just one girl that's possessed now. We have two.
Ooh.
We got 2 girls, and we got a black girl and a black dad. So I was like, yes, I'm here for it. I love how they brought in the Haitian spirituality. They brought in the Christian with the white friend, her girl. They brought that in. Then we also have the Catholicism and the priests. You know what I mean? So we have a whole lot of different ones, and I loved how they had to all come together for this because we got 2 going on at the same time. Again, I'm not sure if we got one demon controlling both or if there are 2 different. Well, actually, yes, I do. I think I'm for sure it was one. I just thought about this scene at the end.
Get all of Dicey's top 10 on the bonus episode 198. It's now available at castropolis.net. As always, y'all, big thanks to Syracuse Mike, Tonya B, Vi, Talib, political analyst Harold Michael Harvey, and author. Thanks to the crew, Millennial Nick, Lady J, Regia, music by K-Dub, and all those who help us make it happen from week to week. We really appreciate what you do. Remember, each and every Sunday, y'all, 6 p.m., you can stream us first. The links are in social media, or you can just go to castropolis.net. Everything is there. Don't forget to share the show. Share us with a friend, y'all. Don't cost you nothing. Big PSA for this episode. Congrats to our friends in South Africa. Yes, if you like rugby, they are the winners. Second in a row, I think, of the Rugby World Cup. They beat New Zealand 12-11. So congrats to the Springboks. That's what they are called, y'all. Yeah, congrats, y'all. And we appreciate you for supporting the show each and every week. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications. We now do the bonus episodes every week. So that's daily, Monday through Friday. So make sure you have your notifications on, y'all. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app, or simply use YouTube, or just go to castropolis.net. And with that, y'all, episode 199 is in the can. Have a great week. Peace and power to the people. Have a great week.